We all want smart kids. Little Johnny is so smart, he can already talk on his first birthday.
That's how it
He
is. You're
said
right.
bye
You're
bye.
right. What a big boy.
Or John got an A on his math final.
Yeah.
How far are you willing to go to boost your kids' IQ? I mean, are you willing to put in the time to read to your little one or to feed your child a healthy diet, high in healthy fats? Is it worth it to put your child in preschool early or to keep him home with you if you can give him quality time? I mean, what's more important, their intellectual IQ or their emotional IQ?
I guess they're both pretty important, aren't they? We want to get them right. And we get perfectionistic too. And the question is what can we do to really help our kids to be smarter in all ways?
Well, I know some people go as far when their child doesn't even have
Mm,
ADD or ADHD when they're in high school. They'll give them those drugs
even in preschool.
to help them to focus and to
Yeah.
concentrate because they want so much for them to get good grades.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what we're looking at here is a study that was published in the journal Perspectives on Psychological Science in January of 2013 that talked about optimizing kids' IQ. It was a study that was done in New York University, and what they did is they collected a whole bunch of studies. It's called a meta-analysis that showed IQ is affected by things like diet and supplements and interactive reading and early education. So there's a lot we can do.
It's kind of fun to spend the time with your child reading to them anyway. And I think nowadays, with so much technology, that it's so important to be present. Like I was saying
That's really
earlier,
right.
if you can be home with your child
Uh-huh.
rather than to put them in preschool, I mean, that's kind of a nice thing. But if you're going to be working on the computer and watching TV and
If you're not present,
working on your cell phone and going through all that and you're not present with them, you might as well put them in preschool. At least they can learn to
mm,
play with other kids and be
well,
interactive with them.
well, that's what these studies showed. They actually showed that if you do this with them and you're present with them and you have an educational system that's working, the early education can increase their IQ by about 7 points. So
Well, the
that's not
other
a
thing
small
too that
thing.
they talked about is interactive reading.
Hmm.
So it's like even if they don't know how to read yet, if you read with them and encourage them, our granddaughter, Katie,
Uh-huh.
she we thought she could read because she'd memorized the book from listening to it so many
She's
times.
so smart.
And so we thought she could read, and she really wasn't reading. But see, that's fun. That's an interactive kind of thing
Mm,
with the child, and
that's right.
and that's supposed to boost their IQ.
Yeah, well, it does. I think that's right. And then diet plays a role too. The essential fatty acids are very important for brain development. And it's in mother's milk, but it's not in formula-fed milk nearly as much.
Well, it feeds the brain
It
and the
absolutely
nerve
does.
cells.
There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of essential fatty acids that make up a healthy brain. And that can increase IQ by about 3.5 points. So you look at 3 points here and 7 points there and 4 points someplace else, you're pretty much looking at 10 to 15 IQ points, which is nothing to sneeze at.
And it doesn't even just make them smarter. It also is good in reducing violence
Right.
and helping them to get along better with one another.
The,
Talk about the prison study.
Right. Well, it's both in prisons and it was in schools. And what they found, Vicki, is that there was a 44% reduction in violence if they just fed one healthy meal at noontime, either to the school kids or to the prisoners. So that shows that there's a tremendous amount that's connected with what we eat.
So it's a lot more sensible to do that than to be giving your kids a drug or something.
Oh, lifestyle is the most important medicine. If we can be present with our kids, it makes a huge difference.
Well, another thing too is if your child is stressed or not, because if they're stressed, they're not going to focus and concentrate as much because they've got problems, they've got things on their
Exactly.
mind.
They're in the
So,
future or the past. So being in the present tense, having a parent that really cares and is nourishing and understanding and working with you is a huge factor. A diet's important, and then of course the other lifestyle factors are no-brainers. We should not be exposed to toxic things. We should get enough rest, and we should be as stress-free as we can. And our kids will do a lot better.